On this assignment, you're going to start with drawing ellipses in the same way that we did, where you're using the overhand grip with a pencil, and you are being very loose and working from the shoulder, and don't be overly concerned with the symmetry of it, but I want you to add axis lines, and that's the line that I just drew there from point to point. And those don't have to be perfectly straight, but the idea is you do the same method where you kind of hover over the paper, like I'm doing here making the ellipse, so that I already have my shoulder sort of ready to pivot and make that angle that I need, and similarly make the sort of straight line that I need there. So you should fill a page with these and practice getting those axis lines in there. After you've done those, I want us to go back and working with the idea that we were doing with making the gestural circles, working from the shoulder, and making those, loose circles, holding the pen in the overhand grip. But I'd like us to, once you've made several of those, I want you to then expand them. The idea is that similarly to the ellipse, the circle is going to be present in most forms throughout nature that you're drawing, some version of them. And what I'd like you to do is start working with basically an egg shape. And to get that, you're going to start with a circle and sketch using these gestural motions very loosely an egg-like shape. Now eggs come in various sizes and shapes, but they're more or less based on an initial circle. So I'd like you to make several of those where you practice that kind of sketching, and do the same thing where from the rest of this assignment, put the axis line straight through the object that you're drawing. And you can do it after, or like here, I'm going to do it first where I have the circle that I want, and I'm going to add a little axis line that extends out to the point that I want to make the top point of that egg shape. And then I'm going to feel my way around it gesturally, working from the shoulder, and don't be concerned about it being perfect. It's going to be a little messy, but the idea is the gesture is the important aspect of this. So you should fill a page with multiple versions of these. Try them more elongated, but in all of them start with the circle and then use the circle as your basis to flesh out a more expanded shape from it in making these sort of egg-like shapes. And again, establish an axis line through all of them. The next series of exercises I'd like you to do would be expanding on these basic organic shapes. And what I'd like you to do is make basically some they're bean-like shapes where they're based on a circle or an ellipse, but you only draw half of it, and then you sort of feel your way around expanding it. You can see here I'm drawing half of a circle, and then still working with the same gesture, I'm establishing this sort of organic shape that's could be sort of bean-like, it's almost egg-like, but these type of shapes repeat themselves throughout nature frequently, and they have a structure to them that's based off of ellipses and circles. So experiment and see how many different shapes you can develop based on these simple organic shapes.